everybody, Handled Raptor here. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Let's get into it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video is going to be about Back 4 Blood. It's a multiplayer, first-person shooter zombie game. It's going to be available on the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Series S and X, as well as PC. This game is about the playable characters, also known as the Cleaners, slowly carving out places filled with zombies called the Ridden. So far, the beta hasn't shown much in the way of a story, aside from fighting your way into the Ridden-filled area to cave in a mine entrance that the Ridden have been exiting to flood surrounding areas. The combat has so far been fun and engaging, as there's been a ton of different threats you gotta keep an eye out for, so you're always constantly moving and shifting your field of vision, that way you can watch everyone's back, as well as the amount of weapons you can choose from, each having their own stats and rarities, as well as different attachments. Now you have a load of weapons to choose from pistols and melee weapons for your secondary, to shotguns, SMGs, LMGs, sniper rifles, and assault rifles for your primary weapons. Now talking about weapons, my favorite combination so far has been basically any high-powered sniper rifle that I can get my hands on for crazy weak spot damage that you can do to the mutated infected, and then the Beretta M9 for secondary to clear out the weaker zombies, or Ridden, as they're called in this game. Now, as I said before, there are rarities involved in this, so every weapon has its own color rarity that goes with it, and it's the basic scheme that's been seen throughout many looter shooters such as Borderlands or Destiny. It goes white for common, green for uncommon, it goes blue for rare, and then purple for epic. And each level further increases, so if you find one gun that you like the most, but you find one green and one blue, you're going to want to take the blue because it's going to have better stats overall. So you're always keeping an eye out for purple weapons if you're using a white one. Now if you've got a personal favorite weapon that is white and then somebody offers you a purple one that you either have no experience with or do not want to use, you do not have to switch to it. It's technically recommended, but if you don't feel comfortable on that weapon, then stick with what you like. Aside from weapons, rarity also affects offensive equipment, medical supplies, as well as attachments. Now when I'm talking about attachments, this game is a little bit different than, say, Call of Duty or anything else like that, as the attachments affect the stock of the weapon, the magazine of the weapon, which also affects the ammo depending on what magazine you have, the barrel itself, and the scope. Now, the rarity affects these attachments by increasing the statistical improvements to weapons, such as a stock increasing handling, or a barrel increasing accuracy, or reducing recoil when firing. And in terms of medical supplies or offensive equipment, such as grenades, Molotov cocktails, a stun gun, or razor wire, the rarity increases the damage these weapons do, and in case of the barbed wire, increases the area that it can cover. Whereas medical supplies such as bandages, first aid kits, or painkillers increase the amount of HP healed or temporary health given. And finally, for the last part of player equipment, are quick accessories, such as a defibrillator, a toolkit, and an ammo pack. The defib obviously quickly revives an incapacitated or dead teammate. The toolkit, however, is used to open up alarmed or locked doors, sometimes they're both, and the ammo pack resupplies your personal ammo. It does not resupply anyone else. Now, everything that we've covered can be found in-game, but thankfully you don't have to leave everything up to chance of just finding it lying around. There's also stores that you have access to at the very start of your runs and in between at every safe house. Now, shops offer a wide range of amenities. Number one is that you can resupply ammo, and you can purchase healing items, grenades, or offensive equipment, as well as toolkits, defibs, and ammo cases. Now, at every shop, you are also able to buy weapons and attachments. However, every time you open a new shop, there will be different weapons and attachments for sale. And finally, in the shops are what are called team upgrades. Now, there are only 2 available per shop, which means that if 2 of your teammates are saving up, then you can purchase it every time you come across a shop. And what this is this is basically a team upgrade. Some of them will increase the team's stamina, some will make the offensive equipment increase in rarity, thus increasing its damage, or the same thing for the medical equipment, making it heal you for more, as well as increasing the slots that you have for the offensive equipment and the medical equipment, enabling you to carry more into fights. Now let's talk about the card system. So at the very start of the run, you will be asked to choose a card. Now whatever card was the first one in your deck will always be your starter, but after that, it's random. So you have a chance to get any of the 15 cards that you have put in your deck. This allows the player to have some control over the upgrades that they're going to get throughout the run. Now, just a few examples of some of the cards that you can acquire. There are some that increase the total health of your survivor, some that increase the amount of ammo that you can hold at all times, and some that increase your stamina by a certain percentage or amount, enabling you to use melee weapons more often or sprint for longer periods of time. Now, in terms of the playable characters, there are a total of 5 right now in the beta, and I don't want to say that they're kind of stereotypical for what would be considered a zombie game, but I'm going to go ahead and let you decide. To start off, we've got the Doomsday Prepper / Conspiracy Theorist. Next, we have the military trained character. Then there is the younger character who has lost their entire family to the Ridden. And then we have an older paternal character for the group who lost a child to the Ridden. And fifth and finally is a character that so far doesn't have any real background, and I think that was so that way players could project whatever story they'd like onto it. The graphics have been incredible for me. I've been loving the dark and ominous feeling most levels have, especially when the fog card gets thrown at you. The enemies feel incredibly detailed, especially the mutated. You really start to detect the differences when your life's on the line and you're trying to figure out which one is about to kick your butt. Something else I've really appreciated that they've thrown in is that whenever you or a teammate is incredibly close to a zombie, when it is killed, whether or not you kill it with melee or somebody else shoots it while it's in front of you, you will slowly accumulate blood and gore just all over you. So it's really funny to see when you've got somebody who's been in the thick of it versus somebody who's been sitting back and has been firing and trying to protect their teammates. When you get to the very end and you get to a safe zone and somebody is just completely bathed in blood, and then you just watch the last guy walk in and they're completely blood free. It's really nice to see as a game design overall. Now, even though in the beta we only have one run right now, each run has about 8 different levels, and you don't have to do it all at once, which is nice. The levels are nicely laid out, and they don't feel like there's a sudden change in atmosphere or location, what with how gradually everything changes when you go from safe house to safe house. So let's say that for the run in the beta, you start off in an apartment building inside of a city, but at the end of the run, where you go through 8 different levels, like I said, you will finish the game out in the wilderness near a mine tunnel. So as you progress, you're just fighting your way further and further and further, and you get to watch as the landscape changes and passes by as you watch yourself get deeper and deeper into the world. Alrighty, now that we've covered most of the aspects of the game, I want to give you some of my personal opinions. Now, the weapons, the amount that there are, and the customization with the attachments and the cards add an insane amount of replayability, and especially if you can get a 4-man group or you've got friends who play this game, it is going to be an amazing time to get a 4-man group and try and challenge the game at its absolute hardest difficulty, what with the friendly fire being incredibly high, you only have 1 life to share with the entire team. The intensity that this game is going to bring to the friend group and just the fun in general is going to be great. Now, there are a few downsides to this game. I've had a few bugs, and I'm not going to lie, unless you're in a full party of players, it's incredibly difficult to challenge anything past the basic difficulty. The bots in this game are fine with that basic difficulty, but they are absolutely worthless in anything higher. I had one run in particular where I had to fully abandon it as a bot was stuck somewhere miles behind me and the only other person I was playing with, and it could not reach the safe house, so we had to abandon the run. There was another game where I saw that one of our bots, just standing on top of a vehicle at the very last mission, was not firing or fighting any of the Ridden, and it was being beaten by 2 of them. After I'd killed them, it began fighting again, but that shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. I've even had a few issues with enemies just spawning in the ground with only their head sticking out, which isn't exactly the biggest problem, but when it's the mutated infected and you've already wiped out the horde that they were supposed to be coming at you with, it kind of takes a little bit of the difficulty out of the game. While I had a great time playing this game whenever I didn't run into any issues, there were too many times where bugs or not having a full party kind of ruined the experience. I can't really recall the amount of runs I played, but I'm pretty sure I only had 2 or 3 full 4-man teams. Everything else was either 2 or just myself. Playing with other people is definitely how the game was meant to be played. I never did try my hand at multiplayer either, but there will be a separate review on that, but it will wait until the game is fully released, and I will do a second one on it as well for the co-op experience. I'd score this game about a 5 out of 10 at the moment, with the bugs preventing you from experiencing the full force the game has to throw at you, as well as the bots really dragging down the experience whenever you're unlucky enough to not get into a full team of players. For those of you looking to gain access to the game, it is $60, and for those of you who have loved Left 4 Dead, I think you'll love this game, but I want to warn everyone not to jump on board just yet. We want the developers to iron out some of the bugs and other issues like the bots before we throw all our money at them. Thank you everyone for joining. Please, if you'd like to support us here at Gamer Critical Network, like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time. Have a good one.